The world of Bloodborne is a dark and dreary place. It is full of monsters and horrors. But how do you survive the long night in hopes of returning to the waking world? I'm Josh with Jamitek, and I'm here to give you a beginner's guide to Bloodborne. First of all, I'm going to rip this plaster off straight away. Yes, you're going to die. Probably a lot, but don't let this dishearten you, because this game is so much fun once you understand it. Okay, so Bloodborne promotes a much faster, more aggressive combat style than Dark Souls. If you get hit, you can quickly regain some health that you just lost. On your health bar, you will notice when you get damaged, your red health will go down and you will see some orange health in its place. This will slowly disappear, but if you attack the creature that just hurt you, you can get back what you just lost. So be quick. Remember, always be aware of your surroundings. You don't want to get ambushed and get stuck in a corner, because even 2 enemies at the start of the game can be a little overwhelming. Trust me, I've made this mistake one too many times. One of the first items you get is a pebble. This item seems useless, but can be thrown at the enemy you're aiming at. Use it strategically because this is great for killing a group of enemies one at a time. Bloodborne is a big world, but you know what makes big worlds smaller? Shortcuts. And luckily, Bloodborne is covered in them. Make sure you explore everywhere, because just behind a corner could be a switch for a door that you couldn't open earlier, which means if you die, you don't have to walk through and fight everything that you just went through. Now let's talk about weapons. After your first death, which should be to the werewolf, if not, I'm impressed, you will arrive at the Hunter's Dream. This is your hub world, it's also where you will get your starting weapons. You have a choice of 3 primary weapons: the Saw Cleaver, the Hunter's Axe, or the Threaded Cane. The most useful of these weapons being the Hunter's Axe. It does a good amount of damage and has a great range in its secondary form. All these weapons can be upgraded as you go through the game. Mark personally kept the Hunter's Axe the entire game, and he has the Platinum Trophy. The secondary weapons are the Hunter's Pistol and the Blunderbuss. The Blunderbuss is great at close range, but it's pretty useless if you want to get the attention of some bad guys. Overall, I would say take the Hunter's Pistol. It's quick, and I never swapped it out for another secondary. It kept me going to the end of the game. Speaking of pistols, we should probably talk about Visceral Attacks. Visceral attacks are great for dealing massive amount of damage on your opponent, but it's still a little tricky. Basically, the way it works is once your opponent is winding up their attack, as they're about to swing at you, fire your pistol and it will stun them for a few seconds. This is when you want to move in close and attack. This will do a special move where your character rips out their insides and deals massive damage. Just make sure you practice this as much as possible, as it's gonna help you take down some tough enemies. Little pro tip for you, you can also do visceral attacks on bosses. Now items. This game has a lot of items to find, some of them not being useful for a long time, so all I can really say is don't sell your gear or items. If you need some more blood echoes, just go and kill a few guys. Yes, this takes a bit longer, but not only are you earning blood echoes, you're also getting a bit more fighting experience, so it's win-win in my eyes. Also, at the start of the game, you will begin with some pretty boring clothes, with some bad stats. Now you can look like the badass hunter by going to a merchant, or if you're feeling really dangerous and you're tight on funds, there's some hunter clothes hiding in the sewers. Remember to equip all useful items to your hotbar so you can swap between them on the fly. The last thing you want is going through a bunch of menus when you're in the middle of a fight. So you might have noticed a creepy looking doll when you first arrived in the Hunter's Dream. That doll is basically how you're going to level up in this game. But how do we wake her up? Well, that brings me onto Insight. Insight is kind of another currency to be spent in the Hunter's Dream. Once you acquire 1 insight, the doll will wake up. Earning insight can be done by either finding a boss or consuming some madman's knowledge. Lastly, if you're playing online, remember to read notes that other players have left on the ground. About 50% are helpful, and about 50% are trying to troll you. So make sure you take messages like, "Drop here for hidden items," with a big grain of salt. And that's everything. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to subscribe, right now is a really good time to do so, as we're uploading new videos all the time. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed this, and we'll see you guys in the next video.